Alright, what's up guys? Alright, today I want to talk about the DNA 40, which I have in this Hannah style mod. A friend built this for me, been working great, love the DNA 40, love temperature protection, have not gone back to Canthol since I started building with nickel, just absolutely love it. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about the battery life with your DNA 40. I haven't heard many people talk about this, but my battery life with my DNA 40 device has been insane. It has been so good. I mean, with my Samsung 18650s, before my regular Evolve DNA 30 devices, but I probably changed the battery 2 or maybe 3 times in a day. I vape a lot, so to me battery life is important, and the DNA 40 has been stellar with battery life. So I wanted to take a look at why that might be, and I found some pretty sweet things about the DNA 40, how many volts it actually uses, and how great your vape is with how little amount of power you're using. It is just so sweet. Okay, so I got my DNA 40 right now turned down to 11 watts. Everything on this camera is mirrored, but this right here says 11 watts. It's at 0.15 ohms. That's with the nickel build, set to 420 degrees, but 0.15. 0.15. Think about how much power typically that needs to like run a decent vape. 0.15 resistance. Okay, so just take a look at this. This is 11 watts on a 0.15, and then I'll talk about it a little bit and explain some things. So here's 0.15 resistance, 11 watts. I mean, you see, like, that's not a bad vape. Like, it's not terrible. I mean, 11 watts on a 0.15 build. $11 watts. I know you can't read it, but that's why I had the close-up shot on a 0.15 build. Alright, so let's just look at this for me, okay? 0.15, 11 watts. 11 watts, 0.15 build, 1.28 volts. You see that? 1.28 volts. 1.28 volts? And I'm getting a good vape? I mean, so I'm not quite satisfied with this, but a lot of people would be. I mean, what? 1.28 volts? So what's going on here and what's happening? So the DNA 40 has something called a preheat technology. The preheat, what it does is it bumps up the wattage close to 40 watts for just like a split second at the beginning of your vape. If you notice in that close-up shot, you might see it for a second, and it's only for like 1 second, so don't try to tell me that that really affects your battery life. But what it does is it bumps up the wattage real quick. It tries to get close to the temperature that you set it to, and then it drops it back down to the wattage you set it to. So when I'm setting it to 11 watts, it bumps it up super high for just a second, but then as you continue to vape, it stays at that 11 watts, or that like 1 volt, which is just like, I mean, that is why we're getting insane battery life. So here's just a couple other demonstrations. I have a 13 watts, so let's do 13 watts. 13 watts. I know you can't see that, but alright, check this out. 13 watts. $13 watts. I mean, that's like satisfying for me. 13 watts. Alright, let's take a look at this. 13 watts. We're now at 1.4 volts. 1.4 volts? No wonder my battery life has been crazy. Alright, take a look at this. So, let's try 16 watts. This is like, I mean, I vape around 16 watts a lot of the day on my 0.15 build. 16 watts. Let's try that again. So that's showing 16 watts in a close-up, but you can't really see it. So this is 16 watts. That's 16 watts. 16 watts. Just let's take a look real quick at what our voltage is here with 16 watts. 1.55 volts. Fucking nothing. Alright. Now, if I want like a warm vape on my DNA 40 device at a 0.15 build, alright, I'm just going to turn it up to 20 watts. This is where the temp control will start kicking in a little bit and helping us out. It's 20 watts, but take a look at this. That's 20 watts. See, this is like a good vape to me, and it's temperature protection kicking in and doing its thing. I just can't get enough of this, so don't mind me while I hit this. Alright, so let's just check this out. 20 watts. Even at 20 watts on a 0.15 build, we're only at 1.73 volts. 1.73 volts. I just had to try to get this known a little bit more because my battery life has been just so good. I'm just so I just can't believe not more people are talking about this. The battery life on a DNA 40. $20 watts. No wonder it has amazing step-down ability. Alright, well that's it. I just wanted to show you the battery with the DNA 40. It's just great. So, if you need help building or anything like that, feel free to ask me. I know it can be a little bit of a bitch to build with nickel at first, and you just want all your connections to be super stable. Yeah, I mean, let me know if you have any questions. Love to help you. Love to keep people off cigarettes. It's just loving it. Alright. Have a good day, guys. Hey guys, one last thing I wanted to add to make sure that I'm getting across the most accurate of information is when you build your coil with nickel wire, which you have to utilize the temp control on a DNA 40, while you're hitting it, the resistance will go up very slightly, and that is actually how its DNA 40 calculates the temperature. But when the resistance goes up, you actually, I mean, it makes sense to add more voltage. That's how Ohm's law works. Higher resistance with the same amount of watts equals more voltage. But in this video, as you see, it's still an insanely low amount of voltage. I mean, the highest I got, even when I wasn't even inhaling on it, was 0.3 ohms. And I don't even know if while you're in temperature control mode, if the DNA40 utilizes that change in resistance to increase the volts. It may just keep the baseline reading of resistance and utilize that for the voltage throughout the whole time. So I just don't know for certain about that, but I just wanted you to see that the resistance does change, which could influence your voltage, but regardless, the voltage is still crazy low. So just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So alright guys, take it easy. Vape on.